In our next example, we want to find the equation of the parabola. Our vertex this time is going to be the point -2, 3, and our focus is going to be the point 0, 3. So this is an example where the vertex is not at the origin. So this is going to represent our h and our k values. Once we get the equation, we can go ahead and graph it. Let's go ahead and actually start by plotting the information that we have to give us some clues as to which equation we want to use. So here's some of the information we have. We have our vertex at the point -2, 3, and we have the focus at the point 0, 3. So just taking a look at those two pieces, we know we have a parabola that is opening to the right, and we can also go ahead and find our directrix. Right, we know this distance from the vertex to the focus is a total of 2 units, so if we count 2 units to the left of the vertex, we can actually get our equation for our directrix. I went ahead and sketched our directrix on our graph at the line x equals -4. Now, in order to finish drawing our graph, we're still going to need to get a couple more points so that we can draw our parabola. So let's go ahead and start taking a look at the equation and some of the components that we have to work with. Now, because we know this is a parabola that opens to the right, and we know our vertex is not at the origin, we actually have an h and a k value, we're going to use the equation y minus k, the whole quantity squared, equals 4a times the quantity x minus h. Let's go ahead and plug in the pieces we know. We have our h and k value, and we also know the value for a. We have that distance from the vertex to the focus. So our a value was a 2, and when we plugged in our vertex, our h value was -2. Remember, that needs to go over here in the set of parentheses with the x, because that's the x component off your vertex. And the k value is a 3. Let's go ahead and clean up our signs. This is going to give us the equation y minus 3, the quantity squared, equals 8 times x plus 2. You can leave this just like you see it. There's no need for you to distribute or FOIL that left side out. We want it to be in that form. Now, we still need to go find a couple points so we can still plot the rest of our parabola. And just like before, I want to go back and use my focus in order to assist me in getting those points. The question always comes up, do I use the x value or the y value off my focus? Well, that becomes a very easy answer. If you take a look at your equation here, you always want to use the non-squared side. So my squared terms here involve my y values. My non-squared terms involve my x values. So I'm going to be using the x value off my focus. My x value is a 0, and once I go plug that in on this right-hand side, I'm going to get 8 times 2, or 16. Now, I want to go ahead and solve this for y, so just like before, I'm going to go ahead and take the square root of both sides. Remember that when you do that, you're going to get both a positive and a -4 on that right-hand side. When you take the square root of this left-hand side, you're just going to get y minus 3. Now, this is the part we're going to need so that we can break this into 2 different equations, and we can continue solving for y. I'm going to get y minus 3 equals my positive 4, and my second equation is going to be y minus 3 equals my -4. Let's go ahead and solve both of these equations to get each y value. Y equals 7 and y equals -1 are the 2 values that we get. Remember that the x value that we were working with came from our focus, and we had an x value of 0. So we're going to have 2 points, the point 0, 7, and then the point 0, -1. I'm going to let P1 be my point 0, 7, and I'm going to call the point 0, -1 P2. And let me go put these on my graph paper and we can finish drawing the parabola. So there's the rest of my graph. I plotted my P1 and my P2 values and I drew my parabola in there. Remember that it's connecting through your vertex and my focus should be on the inside portion of my parabola. The other piece that you might want to do when you're drawing your graphs is to go ahead and summarize all the points. Make sure you're labeling things appropriately so that it corresponds to the graph that you're drawing.